Hello, internet. I forgot to move my microphone into place. That is funny. That means I forgot to test my mic. All right, looks like we're good. How is everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic evening. Scarlett, why are you sneaking behind me? That's a new maneuver. You haven't done that before. No, let's come back over here. Come over here. Scarlett, get out from there. Oh, you're going to go back around the other way? Get out from there. She doesn't normally do that, guys. B says, oh, nice to see you. Okay, you're not going to say hi to everybody? Okay, I guess she's not saying hi to you guys tonight. This kind of sucks, huh? Oh, it's like the best part of the show. Sure, that's the only reason you guys tune in, actually. All right, how's everybody? Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. Yeah, I didn't do much this weekend. Did a bunch of laundry and cleaning and stuff like that. Catching up on things. Yeah, since I wasn't going to do a really long run this weekend, I bailed out of it. Just my training isn't there, you guys. It's insane how much my training drops off by just slacking for 2 weeks. It's pretty crazy. So I decided not to do my long run. I fell out of my rhythm, so I'm going to try to start back over next week. And yeah, so instead I got a bunch of stuff done around the house, which makes me feel better about myself. So, all right, well, yeah, plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of stuff to get into, California shenanigans. But right before the show started, I think Scarlett really wants to say hi to you now. Okay, here. You want to say hi? Okay, come on. Let's say hi. All right, there you go. It was weird. What was with the delay tonight? That was a little strange. Are you feeling okay? You being weird? Okay. All right, can you go lay down now? No. Go lay down, please. Right now. Good girl. All right. Well, she wanted to delay it for some reason tonight. All right. Topping Land. Yep, that is Scarlett. Yeah. Topping Land. Is that like a yogurt store? I hope it's a froyo store. Yeah, I haven't been there in a while. All right, how is everybody doing? Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Plenty of stuff to get into. Right before the show started, this Dean Preston video came across my radar, and it was from a podcast that I used to watch, and I feel bad. I sort of forgot about the Unheard podcast. It's a great little show, and this dude appeared to have came to San Francisco, and I like this guy a lot. Can't remember his name, but it's a quick little clip from Dean Preston. Sorry, that it's the stuff that comes out of his mouth is almost too insane to believe he's actually saying it out loud, and it really shows what's happening in California politics right now. It's when people are programmed here to vote Democrat, and Democrat has a certain meaning in people's minds. And whatever that meaning is, that's not what California Democrats are anymore. It's something completely different, and it more resembles socialism. And we're going to talk about it. All right, let's listen to Dean Preston talk about how we're going to listen to Dean Preston and the mayor of Los Angeles talk. And there's some similarities, but you'll just hear the disconnect with, I'll just play the clip because it's the super obvious solutions for things that we would have done in the past, things that aren't new ideas, that would have an immediate impact on the insane homeless situation that's going on in not just San Francisco, a lot of different cities throughout California. Sacramento's really freaking bad. Santa Cruz here is really bad, even though it seems to have gotten a little better recently, if you ask me, unless it's been shoved to an area that I'm unaware of. Because, yeah, well, let's play this clip from Dean Preston and how he rationalizes not arresting drug dealers, allowing drug use on the streets. And we're not talking about, kids, skaters smoking a joint on the piers when they're skating. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about zombie fentanyls on the streets. It's This is something completely different. So this is a clip that this came from Michael Schellenberger, but he clipped it from the Unheard podcast. And yeah, let's just play the clip here. So yeah, I'm not going to read Preston because he's what he wrote, because he's quoting everything that he said in the clip. And I'm going to play the full clip because it's 5 minutes. I'll stop it intermittently like I always do, just to annoy you guys. But you'll see why I have to stop it at certain points. Kimberly Hogan, how we doing? Quiet weekend? Yeah, I didn't do much either. I guess got a bunch of laundry done. It was fantastic. Yeah, okay. Play the clip. Here we go.
Dean Preston. Hello, Supervisor Preston. Thank you for talking to us. We spent some time in the Tenderloin yesterday. It's no exaggeration to say I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've seen poor parts of the world, South Sudan, townships in South Africa. I've never seen neglect on that scale. We were just stepping over people who were unconscious. It felt really end of days-ish. And this is your district. You are the supervisor, literally, to supervise those streets. How do you account for that?
Well, it's absolutely a difficult period right now in the Tenderloin, and has been for a long time. I mean, I worked in the Tenderloin, actually started my career representing low-income tenants in San Francisco.
Okay, so he says all these horrible, sorry, I know I'm annoying when I pause it, but it's so insane what he immediately goes into. So he says all these horrible things that are wrong with the Tenderloin. And for those of you that aren't familiar with San Francisco has different districts, different areas within San Francisco. The Tenderloin is notoriously, has been always really bad. It's the worst, crime-ridden. It's got the dingiest strip clubs. It's sort of known for that that I've been told. It's always been dingy, but it is on a whole new planet now. It's too like what he described. He's been to third world countries and hasn't seen stuff like this. He's literally stepping over bodies, and some of them you don't know if they're alive. It's insane. I am Spartacus, Dean the Dream. Oh, he's the freaking worst. So San Francisco has different districts, like Pacific has its own district, or is that within like the Marina? So the Marina is a district. Nob Hill. I'm not from San Francisco, so I probably can't even name you all the districts off the top of my head. Market. Yeah, there's the financial district. Yeah, so a whole bunch of different districts, and they have supervisors of each district. Dean Preston is the supervisor of the Tenderloin. I don't know if that's the actual district or it's south of Market, Soma, but it's called the Tenderloin. It ain't that tender. Dave Chappelle said that. I've never heard that joke. That is funny. That is a funny joke. Yeah, that is a very funny joke. Okay, so we talk about how horrible the Tenderloin has got, and then he immediately goes into, well, yeah, I've been in charge of it for the last 20 years, basically. Or like, it's the last 20 years is the time period that it's gotten insanely bad. San Francisco wasn't that bad when I graduated high school, when I was in high school. I talk about this all the time. When I was 14 years old, 15 years old, I would take the train from San Jose to my buddy's house in San Francisco. And his dad was super rich. He was like a psychiatrist or something, but he was super rich. And he had a house on top of the hill, and on top of, I don't even know what hill, but really nice area above Castro. So I don't know, whatever district that is, like I can't even name the streets right now, but yeah, it might even still been the Castro district, but it was up on top of the hill. Super nice. Anyway, I would take the train there when I was like 14, 15 years old, and I would spend the weekend, and my dad wouldn't worry. And this is back before everybody had cell phones. I think I had a pager at the time. I had a pager, and I might have had a cell phone, but we're talking about like prepaid, it was no internet access, no GPS, like none of that stuff. My dad didn't worry about it too much. And there's no way parents would let their kids do that today. So yeah, it's over the course of the last 20 years, the Tenderloin and San Francisco has just gone super downhill. And he describes how horrible it is, what he just saw. And the first thing that Dean Preston says is, yeah, I've been in charge for the last 20 years. Listen to him go.
San Francisco 20 years ago in this neighborhood and worked for 14 years here in the Tenderloin. And the Tenderloin has always been for decades treated as a bit of a containment zone in San Francisco. Every city has neighborhoods where things are allowed to occur that might not be allowed in other parts of the city, and that's certainly been the situation in the Tenderloin for a long time. Now it's gotten worse with a combination of the pandemic, much more lethal drugs, that are on the market, and rising housing costs that have made it harder for people to get off the streets and into housing. So there are very real challenges in the Tenderloin. We're working on them every day.
None of your business? Yeah, I had a pager, man. I graduated high school in 2001, and I went to high school in the unique time period where there was a time where I had a pager and a cell phone at the same time, because cell phone minutes were so expensive that you didn't want to use them all. So I would have people page me, and then I would call them back super quick. And yeah, this is before texting. Like, texting wasn't even a thing yet. Tenderloin District is north of Market. Thanks, Joe Tacoma. I appreciate that. So, all right, let's continue with Dean Preston explaining how he helped destroy the Tenderloin over the last 20 years.
I'm the supervisor for the district. I don't supervise and conduct all the various programs, the street outreach, the health outreach, the policing.
The police were walking around, open drug use. Clearly there was dealing going on pretty visibly. And actually, a lot of the people we spoke to, even who were clearly users themselves, felt like it was a bit of a strange situation that the police were just letting them do it. And yet I read that you've actually had a bit of a disagreement with the mayor.
So one thing I should mention is, again, people that aren't familiar with San Francisco and the area, these fentanyl dealers a lot of them are super well known. All the cops know who they are. Like, people on the internet know who they are. They cover their face and they wear the masks, but there's a bunch of them they got like nicknames. Everybody knows who they are. A lot of them, they call them the Hondos because a lot of them are from Honduras, and I would imagine a lot of them are here illegally. I'm not positive about that, but if they are, so remember, it's another California policy that runs into another California policy that exacerbates the problem. So now we're a sanctuary state, right? So not only does a drug dealer get the rotating door treatment in the jails, he's not going to get deported. It's a double whammy. So ordinarily a drug dealer, especially fentanyl, people used to get serious time. There's people that used to get serious time for weed. And now what we're allowing to happen is madness. It's absolute madness. I'm not saying we should be locking people up for weed. I'm not even saying we should be I am saying we should be locking people up for fentanyl use. And this is where I actually want to expand my thinking on this. And I want to talk to some deeper thinking libertarians on this idea and this way of thinking, because you can't obviously redo the whole policing system like libertarians would like to do. So if you're going to use the policing system, you have to have a certain amount of a heavy-handed approach on this. So you can do it in a heavy-handed way, but in a nice way at the same time. You can arrest people. If you see somebody that's zombied out on fentanyl, hungover, just completely zombied out, you can arrest them, and we could pass something that makes it a hard 30-day detox. You're in jail, 30 days, detox. We can do an expunge it from your record program if you agree to other stuff. Every person that gets arrested for this, they're essentially put on a census, inventoried, if you will. I hate to put it that way, but get their name, information, Could also have a program where people go out and they actually, hey, you in the tent, name, got the cops there. We start doing a serious census of who's here. We start figuring out, first of all, we get a list of everybody that we can that's on the street. And then we start saying, hey, are you missing family members that you think might be on the streets of San Francisco? And also these names that we get pictures if we can, we get descriptions, we get all the information that we can. And this isn't for prosecution purposes. I know a bunch of libertarians are freaking out right now, me saying all this stuff. They hate lists and all that kind of thing. But if you're putting yourself on the streets and camping and doing all this crazy illegal stuff, you're putting yourself at the will of the city already. You're putting yourself at the mercy of the state. This is your own making. This can't be allowed anymore. So create a program, and this isn't to arrest people. This is to see if we can do this the nice way, where there's family that would love to get moms that would love to get their kids back, their drug addicted kids, get them back off the streets. There's moms out there that have kids on the streets of San Francisco that want their kids to come home. There's lots of that. Try to link them up, all that different kind of stuff. Let me check with the chat, see if you guys are yelling at me yet. The Hondos and the bippers. Yep. I hate that term, the bipping. It's I don't even know I know what it means. Breaking the windows. They got those little devices. Rochelle, happy Sunday. Nice to see you. Kimberly Hogan, you had a 1-800 number for your pager. Your brother could page you. Yeah. They paid you and you call back from a payphone. Yeah, for sure. That was before I got the cell phone. I had I still remember I had a pager from Parrot Cellular. I remember, back in the day, like 1998, something like that, 1999. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'll quit babbling. But so in addition to there's things we could do. Arrest the drug dealers, arrest people that are straight up using fentanyl. And I am sort of liberal minded with I don't want to ruin people's lives because they've just become so desperate and in just a point of despair where they're on the streets and just in a zombie state on fentanyl. If we could get that person to somehow make a miraculous turnaround and become a productive member of society, that's a win for everyone. So first thing, you got to get them sober. That's it. If you're to a point where you're zombified on the streets of San Francisco, you're not going to do it yourself. We don't have sanitariums anymore. Hard 30-day detox. If you're caught on the streets of San Francisco, zombified as fentanyl, hard 30-day detox. We agree to some sort of program. Again, the listing, try to put people in contact with family, loved ones, people that can take them in, care for them. A lot of people aren't going to have that. I understand. We go back to the old school. I think he actually says it in here in this interview. The old school, like gymnasium style cots, homeless shelter situation where it's like, we're not putting people up in hotels anymore. We're not giving people housing. This isn't a housing problem. This is an accountability problem. People need to get off drugs and people need to start becoming productive members of society again. This allowing people to be zombified leeches on the state is not the solution. And listen to Dean Preston goes off on this utopia idea that he has for this center that he tried to create. This place that people come and do drugs where the treatment is available. I'm sorry. I'll quit babbling. Let this idiot keep talking. I'm sorry. I get so triggered by Dean Preston and just there's so many. I'm not saying I have all the solutions at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I do have some ideas, and I know you guys do too. That's another thing. Use this platform as a way to talk with you guys. Hey, is this a stupid idea? Is everything I just said stupid? Give me your feedback on it. Let me know. How would you tweak it? What are all that kind of stuff. They don't do that. They dictate to us what they say the solutions are, and look what we have. It's chaos. California is mad. All right, I'm sorry. I'll let Crazy Dean talk now.
About whether police should be able to arrest people for open drug use. Isn't that like an obvious place to start, to actually return order to the streets and let police clear out this kind of behavior?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think so. Are you kidding me? Like that's it. Don't you think we should do the obvious things? Let cops do their job and arrest the drug dealers and arrest people if they're super zombied out on drugs. Remember, San Francisco, if you're smoking a joint back in the day, you'd get arrested. In San Francisco, if you're a kid smoking a joint, they would arrest you. If you got caught slanging weed, oh man, you were in trouble. You were in serious trouble. If you were back in the day and you got caught selling weed, like, I won't go into details on how you would sell weed back in the day, but say hypothetically you had weed separated out and maybe you had a scale on you. Maybe you had some cash and some baggies, that kind of thing. And you got busted selling weed back in the day, back in the late 90s, back in the early 2000s. You'd go to jail. You would get, it's a felony. Like, you would get in serious trouble. Compare and contrast 20 years later. Look what Dean Preston is saying. Should we do the obvious things, and maybe arrest the drug dealers? Maybe arrest the people that are zombified out on the streets? Maybe we should not allow the homeless encampments on the sidewalk everywhere. Aren't those obvious things that we should do that everybody says we should do? No, I don't think so. These are the people. These are the people that California keeps electing because they have this default I'm going to vote Democrat idea when they're not Democrats. This is a socialist. This is a communist. This is the precursor to communism. This is their freaking utopia that they're trying to build, you guys. Go to the Tenderloin. That's their utopia that they have planned for all of the United States. Keep voting blue no matter who.
I think that arresting drug users, which the city and the mayor in the lead has really ramped up that strategy, has not made our city any safer. It's made it actually less safe. It increased.
They started arresting drug dealers again, like, what, a month ago? And we still have this policy where we're not going to deport people if they're not, still sanctuary state. And they're just super soft on crime because all anybody has to say now is, the war on drugs is a failure. And so that's used as this way to say that, we shouldn't arrest drug dealers and people doing drugs on the streets now. It's like this huge extreme opposite now. That's like the war on drugs was such a failure, which I agree it was. It doesn't mean you should just stop arresting people that are dealing fentanyl, large quantities of fentanyl on the streets. If you're going to legalize fentanyl. Sell it in the stores. Do it like you're doing with weed. Well, don't do it like you're doing with weed. Yeah, let us vote on it. We'll set the tax rate or whatever. It should be taxed like anything else that's sold, not like weed is taxed at whatever crazy percentage. But this isn't legalizing fentanyl. This is allowing crazy drug dealers to run roughshod on your streets. Sorry, I'll let him go again. I only let him talk for like 10 seconds. This is how much this psychopath triggers me.
Increases, overdoses, and it's not a very smart way to address public drug use, right? And so, I favor solutions, for example, like we had the Tenderloin Center operating.
This is a wellness center.
Right. And, where 400 people a day were coming in. No one died of overdoses. It was just starting to get going in terms of really the word getting out and people coming in.
What are you describing right now? 400 people a day came into the center and did drugs. That was your solution? So you're the cool mom that lets all the kids from school come over and smoke pot? Like, that's your solution. That's okay. None of your business. Whatever the solution, it must not violate rights. If we are willing to violate rights of others, then we must be willing to have our rights violated. Well, I would counter by saying that doing drugs on the street, shitting on the streets, leaving your needles on the streets, camping on the streets is violating the rights of others. Your rights don't supersede the rights of drug addicted fentanyl addicts that are homeless don't supersede the rights of tax paying citizens that are renting, owning, working, and just trying to live in San Francisco. So if you're violating other people's rights, then yeah, you should be. I'll go back to if enforce enforce the laws on the books if we want to talk about expunging stuff from people's records. But yeah, if you're zombified out on the streets, I believe you should be arrested and put in a hard 30-day detox. What happens after that? We need to talk about. I would like to even have a program. If you sign up for this program, a rewards program, hard 30-day detox, 2 weeks into it, we can start to, anyway. But this whole conversation, none of your business, you bring up a lot of things with the whole rights things, because like, what are rights and who gives them to us, right? But if we're talking about rights, it's, well, when somebody's rights run into somebody else's rights, whose rights are right? See what I'm saying? Like how is one person's rights stronger than another person's rights? Why does one person's rights get to step on another person's rights? That kind of thing. These are questions that need to be asked. California government is like a cartel. Absolutely. Kimberly Hogan. It's about violating the law, enforce the laws. Yes, enforce the laws we have. And I am sort of liberal when it comes to like how stuff goes on people's records and how it affects people's future employment, that kind of thing. Like I do want to talk about having felonies expunged from people's records. I actually think people's firearms rights should be restored. When people have served their time, if you're a felon, when you get out, if you've paid your punishment, you should be able to own a firearm again. Your right to self-defense should not go away because you committed a crime and you paid your price, your price to society. Now you got to carry that around for the rest of your life and not be able to defend yourself? No, that doesn't make any sense. So I am totally willing to talk about all the things that we could do to, not have such just an incarceration system that like it's just punishment, where there's different places people go for different things that you're incarcerated for. And I also want to bring back sanitariums, but hard 30-day detox is my thing. I am Spartacus. Yeah, being homeless doesn't give you the right to be a bad person. Topping land. He thinks this is compassionate to enable their illness. Yes, exactly. It's not. It's the exact opposite of compassion. Like, tough love is a thing. Like, that saying's been around for a very long time. There's so many people that will say, yeah, getting arrested was the best thing that could have happened to me. Hitting rock bottom was the best thing that could have happened to me because I would have ended up dead. There's so many people that say that, where, yeah, unfortunately, you know what happened to me? I got evicted before, you guys. Like, getting evicted, it's funny. Back in 2016, things were rough for me, and I ended up paying rent late too many times, and got in 2017 and I paid rent late again, and my landlord had it with me, and I got a 30-day notice. Ironically, I had stopped drinking like a month before, and I was trying so hard to turn stuff around, but stuff was still tight for me, like really bad. And I got evicted. I had my own place in San Jose. Good place, terrible neighborhood, but great place for me and my dogs, and it was a good spot that I had. And getting evicted at first, it was just like in my mind, it was the worst possible thing that could have happened, but it ended up being the best possible thing that could have happened. I ended up here. I ended up in the freaking magical redwood forest, and now I'm a trail runner that can do things that I never imagined possible. This is back when me and my best friend had a pact that we would do a marathon one day. I haven't done one recently, but I'll do training marathons. I'll go out on my own and run 28 miles as a training run for a race, not like super often. That'll be if I'm training hard for a race, that'll be like probably my last big run before the race will be a marathon. And none of this would have happened if I didn't get I don't think that getting evicted was like probably the best thing that could have happened to me at that time. A lot of the streets, this drug is something different, you guys. Hard freaking detox. Casey Martin, nice to see you. Terry Wallace, nice to see you. All right, I can't even get through this freaking 5-minute video. How long have I been ranting? Oh my god, I'm terrible. All right, let's let Dean at least finish here.
And going there with the potential to be connected to services and to housing, right? That's the model that the entire city leadership in theory supports, but in practice we haven't been been opening. And so, when people say that they don't want to see drug use on the streets, and I fully understand it, I don't think, it's a good thing to have people doing drugs all over the streets of any neighborhood in the city, right? But people aren't just, people who are addicted to drugs are not just going to shed that addiction.
Right. So instead of throwing them in jail for 30 days and expunging the record after, if they can agree to certain things and go through a certain program, his plan is to allow them to do drugs safely in some gymnasium where a bunch of people come every day. Is that your idea, Dean?
Because you arrest them. And in fact, what we've seen is lots of press releases and millions of dollars now spent deploying law enforcement at all levels, state, federal, local, to arrest drug users.
Okay, and now he's trying to spin it as if we are deploying extra money for law enforcement to arrest drug users and drug dealers. No, these are things that we've always done. These are what the cops are for. This is what we're already paying the cops. He wants to defund them more. But he's failing to mention how much money we've poured into fentanyl needles. Just fentanyl needles. How much money has the state of California, the city of San Francisco, spent on fentanyl needles? How banana balls is that, you guys? Like, really, really think about it. And crack pipes, meth pipes. They give that to people in a bag, in a kit. So a lot of people still don't know this. The city will give you a kit. They'll give you foil. They'll probably give you the lighter. They give you I think they'll give you like the surgical tubing to tie off your arm. Like a whole kit. It's freaking madness. They will give you they will give you a kit that you would have gotten arrested for in the past. It's freaking insane. It's so insane. And these are their solutions. Their solutions. And that's why you got to ask, are these people actually evil? You can't be this stupid to think that these are solutions to the problem. So you have to, at a point, ask, like, are you actively trying to destroy the city? Are you actively trying to destroy people? Like, because this doesn't make any sense to anyone unless you're a crazy Marxist. Hey, this doesn't make sense to anyone.
Literally 0% of them have gone into treatment as a result of those arrests.
So am I right in saying that you actually feel like the plan at the moment is too draconian almost? There's too much policing, and you would like a more liberal treatment of those kind of areas?
I think the problem is that the city doesn't have and implement a comprehensive plan. So, rather than just focusing on one part of that plan, the law enforcement, and whether it's too much, too little, the point is it's not a plan to actually succeed in addressing drug addiction, decreasing drug overdoses, and having safer and healthier.
No, I just listed. It's not just arresting people and throwing them in jail and forgetting about it. I just talked about it. Hard 30-day detox program. If you take away funding the fentanyl needles and all that crap, you take all that away, and then all the money they're dumping into these NGOs that do nothing, just absolutely nothing. Take that money away, take the kits, the freaking drug kits away, and all this money that they're paying for hotels and building. They're like giving people free housing. And to me, that pisses me off. You're giving people free housing in San Francisco. Like, people can't afford to live in San Francisco. You have to be rich to live in San Francisco. So you're also creating more of there's only the rich and only the poor in the San Francisco. So because nobody middle class can afford to live there anymore. They're all getting pushed out. So all you have is this uber rich and then people that don't pay for housing. Dude, you could take that money away. The money is housing. We just need more housing. That's their solution. We need more housing in California, so let us build it. Like, that's the housing solution that we need to talk about. Let people build on their land. Let people buy land and build a home from scratch. California owned land. Start selling land to private people. That will drive down home prices as well. All sorts of stuff that California could do if they just relaxed and just backed off a bit, and it would make it more livable for everybody in the state. Over the course of 10 years, you implemented stuff, just simple stuff Simple solutions that aren't my ideas. Other people's ideas. All right, I'm slim talk. Got to get this 1 5-minute video. That's it.
For streets, right? And that's been my biggest criticism. What gets publicized a lot is my views around the police budget, and whether it's used well, whether it's making people safer or not.
Because you support
Joe Tacoma, Touche.
defunding the police. Is that fair?
I think we have a very, very bloated police budget, all kinds of waste in the police department. I mean, I could cut $100 million out of the police department.
Dean Preston.
Did you hear that last part? I believe we have a completely bloated police budget. I think we can cut $100 million out of our police budget. This man is a psychopath. This man is a psychopath. Okay. So Joe Tacoma, you disagree? People can be this stupid. I stand corrected. I agree. I am Spartacus. Yeah, 47. Prop 47. I would have to actually Prop 36 and 47 made drugs essentially legal. Casey Martin. Okay. Okay. None your business. Most municipalities have bet the need of Newsom and added a ton of housing to their plans. Existing small towns won't be recognized in the coming years. Yeah, it's this everybody. California, just every time Californians are like, hey, we need a solution to this problem, the government's always like, well, here, give us more money and let us get bigger. And then the problem never gets solved. And in fact, it always gets worse. And the government, meanwhile, just gets bigger and people keep voting for the same people. It's freaking madness. It's absolute madness here. That's not even the last insane California politician video I want to show you. It's who's the other one? Karen Bass, I think. So I want to show you this other one from the mayor of LA talking about similar stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry. It is kind of blackpilling, and don't worry, I snap out of being blackpilled really quickly. So there's so many California things I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I'm probably only going to get to 2 of them because Dean Preston triggers me so much. So this is another video. This is from Alex Mickelson, and this dude just popped up on my radar. This journalist, I'm sure he's been around for a while, but he just came out of nowhere for me, and all of a sudden he's just like Gavin Newsom's mouthpiece. It seems, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but he's the journalist that's getting access to Gavin Newsom right now, and it's just everything is super softball. You could tell that all the questions are pre-screened. Gavin knows what's coming. He asks him some like kind of hard stuff and kind of pushes back sometimes, but you know that if he were to push back on Gavin Newsom at all in the slightest, he would never get access to Gavin Newsom again. But here he is interviewing Karen Bass from LA, and they are talking about homelessness again. So same thing. Let's see what Karen Bass thinks about homelessness and what her ideas to solve the problem are. They're not as insane as Dean Preston's, believe it or not. Casey Martin, I'm not saying that, though I agree with you.
I mean,
Right.
the way that we track homeless right now is every January, volunteers go out with like a clipboard and
That's
either
right.
drive around or walk around and try to count how many homeless people they have. And that period, that's said, which doesn't seem like the most accurate way to do it. And then the rest of the year, do we have any idea how many homeless people are on the streets?
No, we do not. And we also have no system to track who is falling into homelessness.
Here's a way to track the homeless: arrest them when they're on drugs, and then you know their name and where they were arrested at. Basically, the people on the streets don't really travel that far. They're usually in the same areas. It wouldn't be that hard to get a pretty darn accurate count of how many homeless people you had on the streets if you had people that were, all right, here's your job. Your job is to go walk down the street. You're going to have 2 cops within distance of you, and you need to get eyes on every single person, ask them their name, get them to answer you, and then get a description and a picture of that person. Send 10 people down a block a day to do that. And you're essentially inventorying your homeless. When you do that, you have your names, you have your descriptions and all that, and then you can put out your blast to the all of the United States. Hey, are you missing a son? Are you missing a loved one that you think might be on the streets of San Francisco? And we could try to create a network that puts loved ones back in contact with each other. This is something that we could try to do. This wouldn't cost a crazy ton of money, but I'm sure I didn't come up with that idea either. I guarantee you somebody else has come up with that idea. It's just easy stuff. I hope I can get through this video without pausing it every 10 seconds. But this is them. They say, what's their solution to get to figure out how many homeless people they are? They send out a bunch of liberal chicks to walk around with clipboards. Yeah, that's safe. This is no. You need big giant dudes to go around and, hey, what's your name? Show me your face. Flashlight on his face, and people that aren't scared. Yeah, you don't need to beat people up and that kind of thing. But a lot of people are out in the open. They don't even if they don't want to answer you, fine. Take their picture, write down their description, what's your name, even write down what was his answer? F you, sir. Okay, name F you, sir. Like that was his response. Whatever. Hey, Corbs, how you doing? I try to be on every night except Saturday. Hey, Corbs, just so you guys know. Yeah, I try to stream every night at 6:30, other than Saturday, and yeah, and I hope to do that for the foreseeable future. All right, sorry, I'll let Karen Bass continue.
So you've heard me say several times throughout this year that I've been worried about the inflow because of the COVID protections going away, the eviction moratorium, rents going up. And so
it's another crazy thing California did. Well, the federal government did that. The eviction moratorium, like that to me was so insane from the get-go. Wait, hold on. You're going to make it so landlords can't collect rent? Like, this is a huge part of some landlords' income. Like, my landlords, people, Sinrock, nice to see you. What if homeless families pass away? Yeah, no, there's going to be all sorts of those problems. There's going to be people where there's tons of people where nobody cares about them. Absolutely. That is still an issue. But that's talking about how much farther past we've gotten. There's so many people on the streets that could be turned around relatively quickly. The situation has gotten so insanely out of control. But sorry, now I lost it. Sinrock. I lost. What was I even talking about right before this? Oh well. All right, that'll come back to me.
Oh, we have established a program to attempt to prevent people from being evicted. And
oh yeah, sorry, eviction moratorium. They stopped landlords from being able to collect rent. And again, my landlord, super awesome. My landlord's never raised the rent on me in 5 years, and he runs like a construction company. He's not rich. He lives in the same town as me, not that far away. He doesn't have a giant mansion either. This is just my house and the house next door. He owns them and he rents them out. It's like a big part of his income. It's if I were to stop paying rent, that would hurt. And I could have done that. That's insane. I absolutely could have done that. Just stopped paying rent, and I didn't. And there's a lot of people that did screw over their landlord like that because the federal government put in a mechanism for people to screw over their landlord. It's so messed up. That whole thing was messed up. Just another government overreach thing. Sinrock. So yeah, no, there's absolutely going to be people that you arrest them because they're on drugs, they're homeless, and you find out no, their family's passed away, or no, nobody cares for him, nobody wants to take him in, all that kind of stuff. All right, well that's when our sanitariums and the hard 30-day detox, and we can even talk about some sort of rehab programs and getting things expunged off people's records and that kind of thing. But if you first implement all the other things, you have to solve the root problems before you just say, oh, we need more housing. because that's all they're trying to do now is, oh, they need more housing. Oh, and they need a safe place to do drugs. Like that's their solution. Oh, and we need to give them the paraphernalia to do drugs. Like that's what their solution is right now. And the problem has gotten so much worse. If we start doing a lot of the things that we used to do and tweak them and implement some other things, this isn't rocket science. This problem, I'm not saying it will go away, but it will drastically improve, like 50 to 80% over the course of a couple of years. It's, Sinrock, how do you balance your renters getting paid with folks being evicted when COVID hit and made working hard? We don't want government overreach. Well, they work together. Like the government never should have been able to shut us down either. Like they never should have been able to shut down restaurants. All that stuff was government overreach. So it's like, it's like if the government's overreaching in this area, you have to allow them to overreach in this area. Like that's sort of what it's all government overreach, and all of it wasn't cool. All of it wasn't right. Like most landlords are middle class. Absolutely. I get it. A lot of people weren't allowed to couldn't work and things got really bad. I was one of those people. Like I'm one of those people right now. Like I've been out of work since February and I literally can't find work because I won't stop talking in this microphone and I won't stop saying things on the internet. And I got fired for not wearing a mask and went on Tucker, and I'm virtually unhirable now. So, yeah. It feels like I'm being punished for having like a moral foundation, refusing to wear the mask, speaking up and trying to defend the freaking state that I'm from and all the madness that's going on. And the louder I get, the more I'm the more I'm railroaded. It's the funny thing is there's so many people that are just like, you just basically just shut up. Like you should have put the mask on. You could have just wore the mask. You could just shut up and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, I could just bend the knee. I could just quietly go away. I could just tuck my tail between my legs and go back to work and be a good little boy. I could do that. Or I could try to fix this authoritarianism that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and driving us all into misery. The middle class is being destroyed. Yeah. Sorry. That was just my rant. Yeah. All right. Sorry. I don't think Karen Bass gets through this video. Go Cheese Millennial. Would you miss? Just me ranting and raving about California politics, California politicians being socialist psychos. But I'll do more of that though. So this is Karen Bass talking about homelessness and her non-solutions.
Staying housed, but a lot of what we've done this year has been pure experimental. However, we are trying to put in place, in collaboration with LAHSA, the Los Angeles County Homeless Service Agency, a better data tracking system.
So essentially, we don't know right now if there are more people on the streets or fewer people on the streets than when you started.
We do not know. And as you pointed out, even when we do the count, it's the best system we have right now, but it's not all that accurate.
So should we change the system? I mean, should there be a way in this era of data when we have AI, when we're California, we lead the world in tech, to figure out a way to keep track of this? So you guys, because right now you're essentially flying blind, right?
Absolutely. But you know what, though? We absolutely see how to put in place a system that once we know someone is homeless, once we bring them into a motel, that we will be able to track them better moving forward. But literally, as you've heard me say.
So she just said the same idea as me, but she's talking about tracking them when they've been brought into a hotel. Okay. Well, how do you get them into the hotel? What's your whole mechanism there? My mechanism's already in place. Arrest them. If they're zombified on fentanyl out on the streets, arrest them, hard 30-day detox, inventory the person. She just said the same thing, but she's talking about doing it when they get them into a hotel. Why are you putting them in a hotel in the first place? Who's paying for the hotel? What hotel? Is the hotel okay with this? What are we talking about here? This isn't free enterprise. This is just more government overreach to fix government overreach. It's all madness.
Say all year that we're building the plane and flying it too. Well, at the county, who is responsible for the tracking, they're building the plane and flying as well. And there's brand new leadership at LASA.
So one of the new systems that you created is Inside Safe.
That's
the
right.
idea, basically, you buy up or rent hotels and motels and take
Right.
people out of an encampment and put them into a hotel or a motel.
Did you hear that? The city buys up hotels and replaces an encampment and puts the encampment into the hotel. What does this sound like, you guys? Is this socialism? What does this sound like? It's madness. It's madness. Kimberly Hogan, thank you. I'm not that strong of a man. Scares those in power. Thank you for the compliment, but there's much stronger men than me. That's for damn sure. Yes, I have talked to a lot of homeless people. None of your business. Yeah, I know. A ton of them don't want help. They like the freedom of being allowed to be on the streets. They're like, yes, and do whatever they want. A lot of people are lost souls, unfortunately. A lot of people aren't, though. A lot of people will turn it around if they're like, all right, if they get enough tough love. Bring back shame. This didn't used to be acceptable in society to be we used to call them bums. Like, it went from everybody called them bums before. And then we started calling them the homeless. Like, this happened in my lifetime. And when I was a kid, they're all called bums. That's what they're called. Bums. Then we started calling them homeless to be nice, to be politically correct. Now, to be even more politically correct, they want to call them unhoused, to suggest that they just need a house. We just need to give them housing, guys. That's all. The state just needs to give the homeless, addicted people housing. That's all they need. So let's buy hotels and put the addicted homeless people in the hotels. Let's buy the private hotels that are renting out rooms that drive tourism, that have standards of living within the hotel. If you break certain rules, you get kicked out. That you want to put a homeless encampment in these hotels. These are the people running California. These aren't Democrats, you guys. These are socialists. And people in California are conditioned to vote for freaking Democrats. The funny thing is, Republicans, as feckless as the GOP is in California, and yes, I am calling the GOP in California feckless and ineffective, and they need a little more balls. That's all. The GOP now is the Democrats from the 90s. It's the Democrats now are freaking Marxists, and what the Republicans are now, the GOP, they're just Democrats from the 90s. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, catching up with the chat. Yeah. Yeah, the GOP needs some tough love. All right, I'm going to try to get through her freaking video. She's almost as triggering as Dean Preston.
So far, you say about 2,000 people have gone into interim housing via this.
Right.
255 people into permanent housing because of this.
Right.
It costs $67 million.
That's right.
Is 255 people in permanent housing a good rate of investment for
No.
$67 million?
No, it should be many more people going into permanent housing. But, that's one of the problems that we have discovered. Every step of the way, we've encountered barriers. But what we're doing different this time is that we're knocking those barriers down. Because prior...
I'm sorry. Can you wipe that freaking smirk off your face right now? Because there's literally people dying every day on your streets, overdosing. Stop smiling, you crazy.
To this year, the de facto policy of the city and the county was people were left on the street until there was permanent housing. So one of the biggest lessons of this year is that our city lacks a long-term system of interim housing.
So we know when we have, say, a fire,
Right.
you open up at a high school or the warehouse somewhere, they put a bunch of cots out, or they try to give people a place to go. Is there any value in doing that and saying you can't camp on the street anymore, enforce the anti-camping?
Right. That's what we used to do. We used to have temporary housing. All right, you need to get back together. We'll give you a place so you can sleep at night, have a roof over your head. They'll feed you, that kind of thing. Like they'll give you the essentials so you can maybe start to turn your life around. That's a lot cheaper than buying up a hotel. That's what she wants to do. There's a cot that you get. You don't want to put people in here's your permanent solution. No, help people get back on their own to where they can be productive members of society again. She wants to perpetuate homelessness is all she wants to do, and keep people dependent on the system, completely dependent on the state, instead of becoming self-sufficient people. Like, this is what everything that California politicians try to implement now, every policy, every law is geared towards making its residents more dependent on the state. And it's the exact opposite of what California government should be doing. California government should be doing everything it can to be empowering its citizens to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, able to build their own home, build their own wealth, build their own business, build their own wealth through building their own business, protect themselves. All this stuff. The state's overreach is the problem of the state. What makes this beautiful state so wonderful is its natural beauty and how many super resourceful people there are here, and amazing, beautiful people here that know how to do awesome and amazing stuff. If the state would just get out of the freaking way, we would solve a lot of these problems ourselves. Just get out of the way. All she wants to do is more government overreach to solve the problem with non-solutions that are just going to funnel money into other politicians' greasy pockets on the back end.
Laws and make people go into some sort of shelter.
Well, let me just tell you, that's a lot easier said than done, because I think if you use that method, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to arrest people. They'll be arrested for 5 minutes and they'll be right back on the street. But
did she just tell on herself right there? Well, why is that? Why would you arrest them and have them right back on the streets? They committed a crime. I'm talking about locking them up for years and throwing away the key and all that stuff. But again, back to the hard 30-day detox time. Remember? So if every time somebody got arrested, so just think about this, even if it didn't go on your record at all, if all you're doing is arresting them and locking them up for 30 days, they're back out, it doesn't even show up on the record at all. If that's all you did. Well, think about what's happening to the person. They're getting all hopped up on fentanyl. I know it's probably a boomer ass way of putting it. They're getting all drugged out on fentanyl and they're getting, zombified. They get arrested and now they have to go into a hard detox. That sucks. I'm sure coming off fentanyl is rough. They got to stay in jail for 30 days. Well, they go back out on the streets after 30 days. They get on fentanyl again, repeat process. They're back in the jail. They got to do a 30-day detox again. So many times of this, they're going to stop being in San Francisco at least. They're going to go to Seattle where they allow this crap. I'm not saying that's a perfect solution, but stop allowing this crap. This isn't rocket science. Sorry, Pete Grabber, nice to see you. Riley 59. Okay, spammer. Casey Martin, they're trying to establish a gulag, but instead of an actual prison camp. Oh, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. They're using tents, taxpayer-paid hotels. Yeah, that's good. It's interesting framing. Has government overreach ever fixed problem? Government overreach. Yeah, government overreach does not fix government overreach, Sinrock. Pete Grabber. Yeah, exactly. Goat Cheese Millennial. They're always looking for a price on someone's head. If they can't make money off the drug addicted person who can't work, they will find a way to make money off them not working. See, no, that it seems like it's the exact opposite. Like they want to funnel money into the drug addicted person and steal it from me. Well, not me. People who live in San Francisco. They, with the fentanyl needles. Like think about how much taxpayer money goes into an individual fentanyl homeless person on the streets with all the stuff that they give them. And then if they're just going to give them housing and putting them up in the hotel and they're not going to work, they're not paying back into the system with taxes or whatever. So it's kind of the opposite. They're just they're paying. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're not trying to help at all. They're trying to exacerbate the problem. I don't think I said that word well. They're trying to perpetuate the problem. Yeah. I'll stop saying that word. I sound like a jackass when I say it. The Undertaker. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That is a good solution, but it's easy to get drugs in jail. Well, yeah, I know that's a whole other problem, right? So, I mean, that comes back to, the sanitariums thing. If we had a separate, if we had a separate wing in the prisons or separate facilities for if you get a drug, like there's so many people that would get arrested for fentanyl use that you don't need crazy like maximum security prison. They don't need to be sent to San Quentin. Like if we even if there was other facility that they could be sent to where like that's the main thing is getting people detox, not so much they're serving time. Where getting drugs into prison is that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I don't like the idea of creating a whole new thing with taxpayer money to send people. If they can create a different wing within the jails, extra care. I'm not throwing them in solitary confinement, but like somehow this person was arrested for fentanyl because they were zombified. We need to keep an extra eye on them. They can't get access to drugs, so I wonder how easy it is to get drugs in jail versus in prison. It's probably easier to get drugs in prison, I would imagine. I've never been to either, believe it or not. Whiskey Reaper, whom here is part of the Salty Army. I don't know the reference. I don't know the Salty Army reference. I know the reference. Are we is the Salty Army, are we making a Michael Malice reference right now? I'm not sure. Stealing money and freedom. That's the Democrat Party platform. Exactly. All right. Let's let her talk for another minute here. She's so triggering.
Do want to look at some other innovative models. Let me tell you one that I learned from Culver City, safe camping, where they actually had a parking lot and they had tents there, but they were very high-end tents. That might be a heck of a lot cheaper than a motel room. So moving into year 2, you will see us employing a variety of different strategies because one of the biggest challenges is us getting to scale. To me, it's clear how we get people out of street homelessness, but being able to get to the scale of 46,000, that's the big challenge.
If it is 46,000.
If it is.
It's funny is it feels like her and Dean Preston say the same thing at the end. It's like Dean Preston was talking about his drug center that people were going to, and he was like, the word was just getting out, but it doesn't work. And then she's like, well, we have in theory this idea that could work. We just don't know how to scale it up to this thing. It's like, so your idea doesn't work and you're just going to keep pouring more money into it. This is just, these people are, I don't know, that narcissists and psychopaths. Like they can't back off their wrong turn that they made. They just can't admit that they were wrong, and their solution isn't the solution. You know what? It turns out, darn it, capitalism wasn't the problem. That wasn't what made everybody homeless and fentanyl addicted. Crazy. It looks like socialism's actually making that a lot worse. It's even crazier is like San Francisco is almost its own little socialist utopia that they've created over there. It's super that's a socialist society in San Francisco. And the more socialist becomes, the more despair there is. It's crazy. It's almost like every single time, no matter how it's deployed, where it's deployed, socialism doesn't work and people end up dying. It's crazy. It's almost like socialism's a really, really bad idea. And the state is not the solution to your problems. That's the crazy thing with socialists for me is they usually seem to. Who is Salty Cracker, by the way? Can somebody tell me who Salty Cracker is? Is that the guy that used to call it a KSJO all the time? Anyway, socialists usually hate the state. They hate government. They hate politicians. They usually like openly don't like politicians. And then their idea at the same time is to give all the control to the government, to the state. It's maddening. Like people that are constantly talking about how horrible the government is and then want government run healthcare. It's so like how you can hold these two thoughts in your mind simultaneously just drives me freaking insane. Sinrock, thanks. I'm a Christmas person, so no, thank you for talking about the tree. Do you guys like my Christmas tree? I'm really excited about it. I got it the day after Thanksgiving. I love Christmas. Salty Cracker is a streamer on Rumble. I think I've probably. Oh, does he do stuff with Styx sometimes? Styx Hexenhammer. I think I might know him through Styx Hexenhammer. I've heard of him. B says, "Oh, thanks, man." Okay, yeah, I've heard of Salty Cracker. So, all right, almost to the Karen Bass video. Okay, he does do stuff with Styx. All right, okay, that is the end of the Karen Bass video, actually. All right, I'll check out some of his stuff now. I definitely need to check out some of his stuff. Yeah, there's somebody else, Salty something, they used to call into KSJO all the time back in the day when I used to listen to KSJO. Oh, okay. He is all right. Let's see. Goat cheese. You like the drip lights? Cool. Yeah, those are outside. All right. Let's just get into some short California stories. So this is actually encouraging right here. But what's funny is it shouldn't be that encouraging. So this is really close to me, you guys. This is the town I was born in. This is over in Los Gatos. I was born at Good Samaritan Hospital in Los Gatos back in 1983. And this is from downtown Los Gatos, and it's a scene that we normally see a cell phone video of people stealing from a store like we see millions of all the time, but this scene's a little different. Check it out.
Yeah, they're going in the back now.
I wasn't stealing. I told her I wasn't stealing. Here.
I wasn't stealing. He's right by the exit. He's got like 6 jackets in this hand and however many in the other hand. Like, I wasn't stealing. All right, dude. Sure you weren't. Let's see. Monterey 23. Nice to see you. So yeah, notice the cops are arresting this guy. They're stopping him from stealing.
How did he steal?
What was up with that alarm? That was a beat. Did you guys hear that at the end? What was up with that? Like, that's kind of crazy. Why was the alarm doing that? I'm actually kind of happy about this. I wish all alarms did this. Listen to the alarm. Was that not a beat? That was kind of awesome. I don't know. All right. So it's kind of encouraging seeing them actually arresting people in Los Gatos. The thing is, it's because it's Los Gatos. It's because it's bougie ass Los Gatos. Yeah, and I said the term that the socialists like to say because I like it. I just like saying bougie to describe rich people. San Jose here. Time to take a place back to logic. I'm from San Jose, bro. Born and raised. Blossom Hill and Snell. Went to Oak Grove. Pete Grabber. I could have dropped some bars over the alarm. Yeah, for real. The alarm was dope. Excuse me. Apologies. All right. So the only reason I think they're getting arrested, that they're arresting that dude is because it's super bougie Los Gatos and they got cops just patrolling. Also, Los Gatos has its own police. Los Gatos is tiny. It's like it's kind of like Scotts Valley. Like Scotts Valley is a tiny little city, tiny little town, and they have tons of cops everywhere. So yeah, don't steal in Scotts Valley. You'll get busted quick. Like you'll have a cop in the parking lot, like probably where you're stealing from. Most likely, that's how many cops there are in Scotts Valley. So that's the only reason that they're busting him here. These guys will probably get let out super quick. The funny thing is, if you look, these jackets. So one of my first jobs, you guys, was working for the North Face in San Jose. It's back in the day. It's actually right across from across the street from where Bass Pro Shop is now. There used to be a North Face right there. That Bass Pro Shop was just a field, but back in the day, there used to be a North Face outlet store right there. And these jackets that this dude's holding right here, these are expensive as hell. So some of the first stuff I sold was outerwear, and yeah, these jackets right here, guaranteed these are like $160 each at least. Could be $400 or $500 each. So he's over that $900 limit. I guarantee you. So you thieves got to be more careful than that. Got to stay under your $900 limit. Got to bring in scanners. So you start bringing in your calculator before you do your thievery. Casey Martin entering a building with intent to commit a crime is burglary, a felony. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's there's ways to turn this around relatively quickly if California politicians really wanted to reverse course, they could. That's why the socialists need to go. I'm not even going to call them Democrats anymore. The socialists need to go. It's socialism. What they're deploying in California is socialism. So if you want to vote for a Democrat, vote for a Republican, because those are the Democrats from the 90s. Democrats don't exist anymore. They're socialists. Yeah, they used to have an outlet in SF too. I worked at the North Face in Palo Alto. They used to be there over on University Avenue. So yeah, I guarantee these guys will be let out super quickly. And just sort of saying, don't get your hopes up because you see cops arresting. Oh, this is Scott. You guys see this picture? Scott Wiener. Yeah, I talked about this last show. So Scott Wiener, this is the senator that introduced the CASB 145, the bill that states that it's not a felony to have sex with a minor 10 years of your age. So a 20-year-old can have sex with a 10-year-old. Yeah, you guys were telling me on the show last night that it's like 14 years was the cutoff or something, but I did not see that in the bill. It did look like it looked like it essentially made it so it didn't legalize it, but it made it that you don't have to be on the sex offender list. If you have some sort of sexual act with somebody that's 10 years younger than you, down to age 10, then you won't go on the sex offender list. Like California really did that. And this is the guy that did it. This is Scott Wiener right here. And we're going to talk about another bill that he sponsored. Here we'll go up to a recent bill. I think this is something that he's trying to do right now. So many things. So I guess before I even talk about that, I guess California is trying to do a toll for freeways. Did you guys hear about this? They're in the Bay Area. Here, I'll talk about that in a second. Let me play this video really quick. So, this video seems like it might be a little bit exaggerated, but it does describe a mechanism that they're putting in place that is super nefarious, and it's sponsored by the same person. This is Scott Wiener again. Remember, they passed that bill that made it so sex offenders could be sex offenders and not have to go on the sex offender list, essentially, if they did it with a 10-year-old or older. It's maddening. So the same senator that sponsored that bill sponsored this bill. And this is from Denise Aguilar. She's awesome. You guys should follow her on Twitter. Absolutely follow her. Informed Mama 209 at Informed Mama 209. She is freaking awesome. She is an absolute champion for California. She puts people on blast. But she writes, did you know that AB 665 was on the table for 2023 legislative session in California? Did you know the state elected representatives, did your state elected representatives tell you? Did they hold town halls? now that they were able to keep it under wraps so that Newsom could sign it into law, kids in California can now run. Kids in California can now run. Oh, we can now run away. The state will house them with no parental notification. Does this represent you? We got to. So what she's describing here is like many Californians think that if like a law changes or they don't really think about it, that like if a crazy law changes, it's like something they'll vote on. It's something that, our democratic process will pass. It's like, no, we vote. The California State Assembly and the California State Senate is super important. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for California State Senate, because I didn't realize how important these positions were. It's 2/3. That's the Assembly, the Senate, and Gavin Newsom, the governor. If it doesn't get it past the Assembly and it doesn't get past the Senate, it never gets to Gavin Newsom's desk. Well, all of these people, the people that are supposed to represent us, they put forth these crazy bills and then they pass them and there's nothing we can do about it. You guys, like, this is why when I say you're voting for socialists, it's like you're putting into place people that will actively put the state in between you and your child. I don't even have kids and this stuff is banana balls to me. I don't understand how people can't be flipping out about this stuff. I think it's because a lot of people don't realize it's happening. But so this bill right here, what mechanism that it puts in place? Just listen to him describe it a little bit. This might be a little hyperbolic, but it does put this mechanism in place.
California lawmakers will vote on a bill tomorrow that critics are calling state-sanctioned kidnapping. NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with attorney Nicole Pearson from the legal firm Truth Law Facts Justice to find out the details.
AB 665 is sponsored by California Senator Scott Wiener and Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo.
Young people are experiencing a new reality.
The law would allow kids 12 and up to leave home and check into a residential facility without parental consent. All they would need is a school counselor or another so-called professional person to agree. The law would remove any requirement of an allegation of abuse or incest.
So right there, these California lawmakers are taking something that is only the right of the parent currently, and they're expanding it to qualified professionals. They're expanding it to teachers. They're taking a right that is only yours as a parent, and they're giving it to someone else. Nobody has the right to do that, you guys. Take your kids out of school. Like that's the solution to this. If you don't like that, take your kids out of public school. It's not being hyperbolic at this point. You're almost better. Like your kids just staying at home and shadow you. If you have a work from home job, to me, you should have your kids just staying home all day. Even if you don't have a plan, they're better off. I feel like if you want them to learn about specific stuff about history, you can put together their own curriculum for them. There's so many amazing teachers out there. I know so many of them. And you guys know I'm a coach. Like I see a lot. I also live in the mountains. So kids are a little different up here. Parents a little different, teachers a little different, but it is still Santa Cruz County. So there's plenty of wokeness, but I feel like the representation of the super woke teachers is overblown, but the problem is they're the ones that are the loudest. They're the ones that are most outgoing. Not even out. What's the word? They're the ones that are emphatic about driving their agenda and willing to do crazy shit. So it doesn't matter that there isn't a whole bunch of them. They're so loud and over the top and bullying that the small percentage of them can change the entire landscape of education, which they've done. It's Marxist freaking propaganda all day long. Everything. It's not Marxist propaganda all day long, but a lot of these teachers are Marxists. And there are Marxist undertones to a lot of the things that are being taught in school right now. Sorry, I got really behind on the chat here. Sorry, folks. Yeah, they want to ban cars. And Spartacus. Back in 98, the age of consent used to be 14 in Canada. That's insane. Then they changed to 16 because of the internet and predators. Okay. Yes, it's 14 in Germany, I think. It's freaking bonkers. Socialists love trains. Do they? I love trains, actually. I really do. I love trains. I got Roaring Camp Railroad right next to me. They got the old cool steam trains. I'm always posting videos of it. I love old trains. We need to take this up the chain of courts all the way to SCOTUS. Yeah, but that's the thing. In the meantime, they can do that. Whiskey Reaper, Salty Santa Cruz Mountain Goat. That's funny. A tenet of communism is to replace the family with the state. Yes. It is completely illegal, and these politicians should go to jail. I agree. I am Spartacus. I actually like trains myself, but I see a car and an open road as the ultimate symbol of free expression, individuality. Yes. Well, if you guys know, I'm a car guy. I'm an old car guy, so I love going on a long cruise in my old wagon and my Chrysler. Shut down the teachers union. Yeah. So I know one teacher that refuses to be a member of the teachers union, so she can't get regular jobs. She's what's called, no, have you guys heard of a super sub? She's what's known as a super sub, where she's like a long-term substitute teacher because she refuses to join the teachers union, so they won't give her solid work. The teachers unions are screwed up. When politicians write a law that later gets overturned as unconstitutional, they need to be charged with deprivation of rights under the color of authority. I could be down with that. I don't know the laws there. Casey Martin, it sounds like you know this stuff better than me. Civil rights violations, yes, absolutely. None of your business. Don't drive with the headlight out, Scotts Valley. Oh, yes. Wait, what? Don't drive with the headlight out in Scotts Valley. You'll get guns pointed at you and kidnapped from your own property. What? Yeah, they are super heavy-handed in Scotts Valley. I got pulled over by the Scotts Valley cops not too long ago from going from one parking lot to the other. And they started like trying to hardcore question me about like where I was going and this and that and why I was going to the drive-thru. I'm like, bitch, because I'm hungry. Like, what is this? Like, what is with the freaking Inquisition? It was annoying. Pete Grabber, cars are the only way in rural North America. Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. So continue this video of him describing this really quick.
Or risk of serious bodily injury or death.
This is a bill about stripping parents of their fundamental rights to take care of their children. Not only that, but their actual legal obligation and ethical and moral obligation to take care of their children without due process of law, without notice, without any allegations of abuse or neglect, and without an opportunity to defend themselves before the child is removed from their custody.
Pearson outlines an example.
We have a child who says they don't feel comfortable going home because they had a fight with their mom and dad about TikTok, their Instagram, about bad grades, about drinking and driving or using drugs, whatever the case may be. They have a huge fight. They go to school. They're upset. The teacher sees they're upset. Their friends see they're upset. And they say, why don't you go take a break in the counselor's office?
They then go to the counselor, who can even be an intern.
And that professional person says, well, why don't you go take a break in the shelter down the road for a couple of days, let things cool off, and actually a couple of your friends are already there. Of course, the child's going to say, okay, they're talking to their school counselor. They think.
All right, so she's describing a hypothetical scenario, which is, feel however you want about that. But let's step back a little really quick and look at who's sponsoring both of these bills. All right, so you got the bill that makes it okay, or I'm sorry, it makes it so you're not on the sex offender list if you do sexual acts with somebody all the way down to 10 years old and you're within 10 years of age of them. So that means if you're 21, you could do something with an 11-year-old and not be put on the sex offender list. Okay, and then that same senator is putting a mechanism in place that allows the state to put you into a shelter, essentially, and not tell your parents about it. And she describes how it'll be hard to get your kids back and this and that. And I don't know. Well, I'll let her finish because it seems a little fear-mongery to me, but I mean, I'm not denying that the mechanism is being put in place, but she starts going into a hypothetical scenario, and it seems like she might be taking a couple of leaps, but you guys be the judge here. Tell me if, like, no, you guys are parents, not me. So, in God's hands. Nice to see you. Yeah, homeschooling. My best friend pulled his kids out of school, and they are doing, I don't even know what it's called, but he got them into this like private homeschooling thing that's super awesome. What his kids are going to be badasses, like absolute freaking badasses. Like, so my best friend can run really far like me. He's got a bit of a banged up knee, so his knee's banged up, so he quit running so much and started doing jujitsu. Great solution, right, guys? And now he just got his blue belt, which is a big deal. And his kids are doing jujitsu. He not only did he start shooting like 4 years ago, he's been taking tactical training for like 2 years now, where he goes like once a month to these tactical courses, and he's super fit now. It's funny. His kids are going to be absolute badasses, and like the stuff that they're learning too. It's hilarious. I look at it and I'm just like, your kids are going to be so much smarter than kids that go through the public education system with like stuff that they learn. Like, they're going to know about the Federal Reserve. I didn't know about there's so much stuff that I learned that's really important to me. I didn't learn in school. It's funny. Whiskey Reaper, single item bills, not on the yes, single item bills, 100%. Yes, I am not down. I just watched Michael Mouse is just interviewing Jacob Chansley, the QAnon shaman. Jacob Chansley, he was just on his show, and he is running for Congress, and that was one of his big things, is he's going to do a single items bill. He wants to make it so we can only have single items bills, and I like that. Go choose millennial. California has been California has been up to this since I was in 5th grade. They tried to break up my family. They tried to intervene in the schools and separate parents from their kids. Yeah, the shit California does with families is insane. Term limits. Yeah, I'm down with term limits too. That was another thing that Jacob Chansley was talking about. This is a pretty good idea that I've never even heard of. He was saying term limits not only for the politicians, but for their staffers, because the staffers are the ones writing their laws, and staffers can work for several politicians in a row, and staffers will essentially be in office for, like behind the scenes for 20 years. So he was saying term limits for staffers as well, which is, it's not a bad idea. So yeah. Casey Martin, public schools is indoctrination in California. Absolutely. The funny thing is like, I had some really influential teachers on me that did teach me liberty principles in public school. There's a handful of teachers that did drive home the be self-sufficient sort of thinking, the individual responsibility, bear your own suffering type of message. Just work hard, like be the hardest working person in the room. Don't do dumb shit, all that kind of stuff. There's like these messages that aren't taught anymore. Be a strong person, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that stuff used to be taught in public school. Even propaganda is okay. Like, everything is propaganda. Any sort of idea that you're trying to push. I am Spartacus. Robert Owen was the father of British socialism, and he said that. Oh, sorry, I lost it. And he said that the state should raise children. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. It's going a little too quick for me. All right, I'm gonna let her finish describing her little worst case scenario here.
I think this person has their best interest in mind. They think that they would not lead them astray or do anything that would ever expose them to any danger.
Pearson says there are plenty of teens who would take the counselor up on their offer, exposing themselves to unknown dangers in residential facilities, Some such places are known to be frequented by predators and drug dealers.
I don't know. I give kids a lot more credit than that. There's a lot of kids just after coaching. I think there's a lot of kids that be like, "Get away from me, you creep! What are you talking about? This is weird. You guys are weird. What are you talking about?" I give kids, granted, yeah, some kids will fall victim to this, I guess is what you would call it. But I don't know. I think the kids are all right. The kids seem to be turning around. Like the kids that I coached were kind of based.
And you will be facing that uphill battle that will cost you tens of thousands of dollars and months of extraordinary pain to get your child back when you have done nothing wrong. And all the meanwhile, they've been in these overburdened shelters, neglected and exposed to Lord only knows what in the end.
Pearson is sounding the alarm on this bill and asking for public support.
AB 665 is being heard actually this Tuesday, June 20th at 1:30 p.m. in the Senate Judiciary Committee. We encourage and are actually asking everybody to show up.
So I actually don't even know if this passed. Did AB 665 pass? Did Governor Newsom sign this shit? So I'm not even sure. And I wasn't even showing it to say that like it's just the ideas that they're coming up with. There's a whole bunch of them here. I have a bunch of them pulled up. You guys should all go overall. Actually, I'm getting Denise Aguilar said she would come on my show. So we'll talk about a bunch of these bills when she comes on, but they're here. So check out all of these. These are all insane bills that they passed. I think all of these passed. So SB 276, SB 135, SB 145, AB 665, this one we just talked about, SB 107, AB 1078, AB 2098. Check all of those out. These are all insane. No, don't do that. Computer trying to install a new browser mid live stream. That would have been bad. Yeah. So check out all those bills. I think a lot of people aren't aware of how many maddening bills that they passed. That you look at them and their only purpose, you look at it, it's like, this is just nefarious. And then you start thinking about how these bills could work together, like sort of in a terrible, terrible, horrible way, complement one another. It's, yeah, well, I'll go over it when I get Denise on my show. But yeah, I think that's, I want to get into this. Dang it. I'm going long tonight, you guys. I'm sorry. But I want to get into this. So New York is they're trying to like surround Manhattan, like border off Manhattan, lower Manhattan, and make it so you have to like pay a toll to get in and out of there. They're trying to do like this 15-minute city type thing. And apparently now California's talking about doing their own crazy thing with the freeways where they're going to like charge you by the mile, like per month, per mile. This would destroy someone like me if I ended up finally getting a union call job. You guys know I was driving from San Francisco or from Santa Cruz to San Francisco and back every day. They would charge me by the mile to go to work. So this is all right. Listen to this.
Who paying for the roads? We paying for the roads, aren't we?
And now California wants to follow New York in applying congestion tolls for highways.
Tonight, the Bay Area is buzzing about a new proposal to add a toll to nearly every Bay Area freeway.
Not just the bridges or those express lanes. We're talking about tolls on all lanes.
A Bay Area transportation agency is carrying out a study right now to charge you to use freeways in order to reduce congestion. That fee would range from 10 to 30 cents per mile.
For traveling on high congestion freeways 5 days a week for at least 40 miles could pay $270 a month. The study factored in a 50% discount for drivers who live in a household that earns less than $55,000 a year.
Food expense, gas expense, that's going to cheese everybody off.
It's an emergency. There's an accident. Why are you charging to get on the freeway?
It's a planning exercise, and we've got a few more steps to go.
This is a study for now, and they want to implement it by 2035. If you disagree with it or think prices are high, share your thoughts below. But what do you think?
So they're just talking about it, saying they want to implement it by 2035. But it's another one of these crazy plans that they're talking about by 2035. They want to get us off the roads. They hate that I have a 1970 and a 1979 vehicle. And I might have to sell one soon. And I do not want to. I would have to take a major loss on it if I have to sell one soon, but I might have to. Those are my stores of value because I can't afford a house. So Classic Cars was one of my stores of value. And I know Classic Cars, and ever since the value on Classic Cars has never gone down. I've never seen it go down. And I sort of thought, well, I can't afford a house, so I'm going to invest in. I bought a 1970 station wagon a while ago, and the value has gone up on it dramatically. And I have a 1979 Chrysler LeBaron too. They're not like super sought after cars. The wagon's pretty cool. A lot of people really like the wagon. It is a rare car. It's got a brand new motor in it, but yeah, those are my stores of value, and I don't want to have to sell it, but I might have to soon. But California hates that I have those. They hate that I have Classic Cars, especially the 79, because 76 and prior is smog exempt, so I don't have to smog my wagon, but I got to smog my my freaking 79, and just getting it to pass smog was a nightmare. What's Whiskey Reaper? You got a 1932 and a 1967. That's pretty cool. Casey Martin, you'll buy it? Which one? I don't want to sell either of them. I don't. And I would have to take a loss on it. I got way too much money into both of them. Yeah. Someone stole your 91 Chevy 3500. That sucks. Jesus. Freaking. In God's hands, you're in California, right? Man, that is frustrating. All right. So, yeah, I just want to talk to you guys about that one, too. There was plenty of other stuff I wanted to get into, but not going to have the time tonight, I don't think. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I wanted to get into, but we'll get into it tomorrow night. Plenty more time. All right. Yeah, that is all I'm going to do tonight, folks. So I appreciate all you guys hanging out. There's a lot of you guys in the chat tonight. Whiskey Reaper, In God's Hands, Go Choose Millennial, Casey Martin, I am Spartacus, Pete Grabber, Terry Wallace, I think I saw you in there somewhere. Let's see. Sinrock. I don't know. I hope I got all you guys. Riley 59. Oh, no. You were a spammer. All right. If I didn't catch you guys, sorry. Rochelle, always good to see you. None of your business. B. Sizzo, Kimberly Hogan. You guys are the best. Always good to see you guys. Let's see. All right. Yeah. All right. But before we get out of here, you guys know the routine. This book is getting beat up because I throw it on the ground every night. I'm going to have to order another one. Yes, you can order this book on Amazon. But before we get out of here, got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Don't go away yet, you guys. This is the best part of the show. The best parts of the show are the intro when Scarlett says hi to you guys, and then the end of the show when we hear our Chuck Norris joke. So let's see what we got tonight. That is taxation without representation, then, yeah. I need you on my show. Why is that? You tell me. DM me. All right. Let's see. Danger. I wish you were on the show right now. I hope you're watching right now because this one is for you. All right, you guys. Here's our Chuck Norris joke for the evening. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I will see you tomorrow night at 6:30. But here's our Chuck Norris joke. Chuck Norris can make the Kessel Run in less than 10 parsecs. And on that note, stay CaliBased.